Hey everybody, David here
Hello.
with some friends. We're going to review one of my videos that I did this past summer with Priscilla. And I'm here with Reed, Diamond, and Nathan.
Hello.
You want to introduce yourselves before we get started? Reed, take it away.
Sure, yeah. I'm Reed, president of Street Epistemology International from CordialCuriosity. Glad to be back, David.
And we've got Diamond.
Hey, good to be here. You can see my channel's Diamond Discourse. And yeah, I haven't done shows in a while, but happy to see y'all.
Hey, and I'm Nathan. I've got a YouTube channel called Abstract Activist.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about today. I guess in one word, I would summarize this interview as pretty discouraging for me. So we'll go ahead and get some feedback. So we're going to start about a minute and 30 seconds in past the intro. And the original video should be in the description if you want to go back and watch the whole thing.
He's super depressed because he got stood up today, and we've been best friends for probably over 12 years.
Oh, bummer that you got stood up.
I'm just yeah, like she got stood up, but like she was just unkind, and so we're going for a positivity walk.
Yeah.
And we got some ice cream. We're gonna hang out in the sun and
Awesome.
try to turn the energy around.
Are you okay if I record?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, your fist of power,
Totally.
your gauntlet,
Yeah, throwing down.
feminine energy.
This is pretty funny.
But Priscilla, on a real note,
Mhm.
you look beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. It's the insides, correct?
I think it's the shoes.
It's the shoes. I wear these Crocs just because they offend people. They make people uncomfortable.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, so just to kind of recap
Yeah.
what I'm doing,
Mhm.
I'm interviewing members of my community
Mhm.
about something that's meaningful to them,
Yeah.
something that they think is true, and I'm asking questions from a neutral perspective that kind of help us explore how you got there
Yeah.
and what's supporting your confidence that it's true.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, and will you
And so
spell
right
your...
now we are recording all the way, or what's?
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
So both angles
There, and here.
and there. Okay.
And then here's my audio.
Nice
source.
editing.
Yeah.
Great.
Quick cut. Yeah.
Will you spell your name, please?
Yeah, it took me a while.
Gotta take advantage when it comes.
Priscilla, and it actually means ancient.
Priscilla.
Yeah, which is another reason I believe what I believe is correct.
Ancient.
Mhm.
Okay. Your name helps support what you believe.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
100%.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you had a different name, you would believe different things?
That would be the different truth, wouldn't it?
Okay.
This is my truth, wouldn't it?
Okay. Is it okay if we do a quick thought experiment?
Sure.
Okay. I've got a box of Tic Tacs.
Mhm.
I don't know how many are in here.
Okay.
I presume you
Can
don't know.
I
how many
pause for a
I
sec?
said 28.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So, did we actually get the claim yet? Did I just miss that?
So she wanted to talk about before the cameras roll in. She said she wanted to talk about universalism, and I think this is a really good example of a situation where we need to figure some stuff out first before we start exploring the claim. Like, what does a claim being true actually mean? And so if we don't figure out what true means to the interlocutor, it's not going to matter what we explore at that point. There's like this obstacle that we need to overcome before we can start exploring the claim itself. So, spoiler alert, this whole video is about her relationship with truth, not necessarily on the claim that that she originally wanted to bring up. You can provide some feedback about that if you want to.
Well, I
If
think
you-
the important thing to point out is that this conversation is really just like checking over and over again if there's a concept at all of objectivity
Right.
in your conversation partner. And before we really get into it, like what we're about to watch is like 20 minutes to a half an hour of you that like trying different ways to see if your conversation partner has a concept of objectivity, which all objectivity is really is just not putting, and these are my words, not putting yourself at the center of the entire universe. Like the center of the universe is everything outside of me, right? Like I'm a part of this universe, right? And that would be like objectivity. I was born into a place. You do very well, like asking many different things about time and volcanoes. We're all about to get into it, but this is one of the more important kind of conversations to be having because it is foundational not only for epistemology, but also for science and school and history, like, and learning from our past, like, and to even think that you might be wrong, like, what does that even mean if there's no objectivity, right? How do we think about whether or not we might have been wrong if there's no external world to be thinking about? And instead, if there's no concept of objectivity, then we're only thinking about the internal state and how we want to think, how we're thinking differently, which is like the your truth stuff, which is pervasive in the Pacific Northwest, which is where I'm from, Portland, Oregon, right here. And I've noticed that it's more so than the rest of the country. That when I travel around, I do not see nearly as much relativism at the center of stuff. So anyway, little rant over. I just wanted to clear that up for the audience what's maybe watching this. Like, that's how I'm viewing this. And it's great. You did a great job.
This conversation has to happen before any other conversation about what a claim is to be true.
Right.
And the part of the discouragement that I got was the lack of reflection from Priscilla and my apparent inability to draw that reflection or inspire it. So I'm kind of here today to maybe get some.
It's a tough one,
that.
Man.
Yeah, I was kicking myself later because I never asked the are you convinced we share the same planet question.
That would have been a good one. Number 2 on the survey, right?
Yeah,
we all share the same.
It's kind of an efficient way of asking the tic-tac or doing the tic-tac test. It's like,
right,
what you were saying, do we share this external planet, or is the planet inside your brain only?
Right. And you'll get to the tic-tacs here in a bit. And though the answers that your conversation partner is giving is just like a person can possess the truth. And that's something that no one can ever change or alter. And there's no objective standard by which it can be compared against. Right? According to your conversation partner, that's what I hear when I'm hearing the conversation partner talk. And then that's the point at which, like, yeah, do these tic-tacs exist outside of our minds or in our minds? Like, are they in the external world? But yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah. This would have been a great candidate for the survey.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Okay, cool.
And when you said Tic Tacs, I said to you because you said this is a box of Tic Tacs.
Okay. Do you agree that I have a box?
Do we
of
fast
Tic Tacs?
forward?
Yeah, I said to you. Yes, that is your yes.
I think we skipped ahead.
Did we? I don't think so.
we did.
I'll go back
No?
a bit.
Okay.
Cool.
And when you said Tic Tac,
Okay. Can Is it okay if we do a quick thought experiment?
Sure.
Okay. I've got a box of Tic Tacs.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
I don't know how many are in here.
Okay.
I presume you don't know how many are in here.
I said 28.
Okay, cool.
And when you said Tic Tacs, I said to you, because you said this is a box of Tic Tacs.
Okay. Do you agree that I have a box of Tic Tacs in my
Yeah,
hand?
I said to you. Yes, that is your yes.
Okay, cool. Is it true to you that I have a box of Tic Tacs in my
Right
hand?
now I'm agreeing to that, but I don't see the emblem on it, so I'm actually just agreeing to your truth.
Got it. A box of white candy looking
Yeah,
things.
sure.
Okay, cool. All right. Is there a way to find out how many are in here?
We could count them, of course, but we could also do other things to figure it out.
Okay. Counting them would be one way.
Mhm.
Okay.
The easiest.
Let's say we dumped them out
Mhm.
and we counted them.
Mhm.
And we counted them like 1,000 times, both of us.
Okay.
And each time you and I both counted them, we came to the number of 30.
Okay.
And this is like not a trick question
Yeah.
thing or anything like that. Would it be true to you that there were an even amount of candies in here?
An even amount of
By the
candy?
way that we define as a society, even and odd, would you say that it's true that there was an even number if we counted them 1,000 times and each time we counted them it came out to 30?
I would think that the amount of times that we counted it would not matter on whether or not it was even or not, unless you meant like even like I did an even number in comparison to your even number. There's that perspective, but then there's also just the number 30 being an even number in perspective.
Yeah.
So I could see people assuming that that was an even event.
Okay, got it. So the reason why I mentioned counting it 1,000 times is because sometimes we can make mistakes.
Yeah.
And like the more times you
What do you guys
test
think about
something-
this? Because I heard, would it be true to you? And what that does is that still makes it allows it to be a relative question. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to see if there's a concept of objectivity. So my question might be, and maybe there's a better way to phrase it, but like I would ask, is there a number, an accurate, true number yet to be counted? Like you haven't counted them, I haven't counted them. Though, is there a number, like an accurate number that we can uncover together?
Yeah, whether we count them or not, is there still
Yeah.
an accurate number?
Yeah, like in that case, because it's absent anyone knowing about it. No one.
Yeah.
And it's just talking about the thing that we're discovering that's outside of us, the knowledge that's outside of us that we can discover together. Yeah.
I like the question, is it possible to be mistaken about anything?
Yeah.
That's another great one. That's 24 on the survey, and that would be another good one too.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of figure out, does you mean truth by I just believe it? Is she equivocating with these terms? Do they mean the same thing in her mind? Truth, belief, perspective.
That's what I keep thinking. Like, because by acknowledging that you could count them to find out an answer, it's like acknowledging there is an answer there. And then it seems to always come back to, well, now I believe it, and so it's my truth, and you have your truth. It feels like a perspective. Like it always seems like she's coming back to that belief concept as the same as truth. But I don't know. Maybe
she
you get there
defines
too.
truth as whatever agrees with her core, whatever her
With her
core agrees
core.
to.
Yeah, is that the ultimate thing we're checking against reality or something internal within ourselves, like
Right.
feelings about cores and stuff? Yeah. Yeah.
likelihood
Summed that up pretty well.
highly accurate result is going to be, more accurate the more times you test something. Would you-
Sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
You could be making yourself mad though too, or even because counting over and over again, you could be creating actual chaos and problems within your counting and undercounting or overcounting because you're kind of getting chaotic from looking at white dots for so long.
Got it. Like, yeah, you would drive yourself crazy if you counted too many times?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could even change the number just from that. Not necessarily because the number of those changed,
Yeah.
but just because your ability to sense what was happening did.
Yeah. If the goal was to know if there
Right
were
there, she
even or an odd number.
isn't she just
Mhm.
saying something about like you're not changing the number in the tic tacs,
Right.
right? Then she said, but you perceive them differently.
Yeah, there was an ounce of objectivity there.
Right. It's
It
almost
seemed.
yeah. It sounded like if you were to ask the shared reality, I think it's there.
Yeah.
in here,
Mm-hmm.
counting it more times than not would you say help in getting to the what's likely the accurate
I would say that
answer?
there would be a point of investigation that would be appropriate, and then you would feel that, and then after that point, it would seem very frivolous to some, and to others, very important.
Got it. What would be the appropriate amount of times that we would count this?
If I were counting them, I would end up putting them in like linear stacks or lines, and I would make sure that I was confidently identifying, maybe 2 at a time. And I would do that same sort of formula with another person, and we would probably do that enough times to where it just made sense that we could physically see that everything was in an even order and all the numbers were in a line, and then we would agree to it and move forward. So it wouldn't take too long.
There would be a process that you could use that you would be confident in finding out if it's even or odd.
I would analyze the situation, figure out the work smarter, not harder route into how I was going to make sure that I felt solid about my choice. And then I would follow by that protocol and make sure the other person also agreed to it.
Got it.
And then we'd go in.
Cool.
And
That's different ways of testing the claim, even or not. You can just take one out, count it, and put it in a pile, which is probably not as good as just lining them up 2 by 2 and seeing if one is left over. Then you can visually see at the end. It's hard to make a mistake when you're visually seeing, is there a pair at the end or not a pair? That's a binary visual, one thing. Anybody could see it really fast. You don't have to go through counting. So that's great.
Matching up dance partners.
Mm-hmm.
stop at a point that we really just felt was irrational.
Let's say we did that process and you were confident and you were satisfied with the process that you took to find out if this was even or odd.
Yeah.
And somebody else walked up and said that it was their truth, that it was odd.
Yeah.
Would they be mistaken?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I bet, to them, I wonder why. I would ask more questions.
Uh-huh.
I would never, ever, ever assume that they were incorrect.
Okay.
I would actually identify it as it could definitely be their truth.
Red flag, then.
Yeah.
It sounds like she's going over, like, using this principle, all sincere persons' beliefs have equal claims to respect. It's like you're respecting them as a person more so than actually caring about objective reality.
Yeah.
It's like that takes
That's
precedent.
a different goal. Yeah, there's a goal of respecting someone, and then there's a goal of finding out what's likely the truth. And those don't necessarily coincide all the time.
Right. And for like a lot of situations in life, sometimes it is better to just lean on, like, being all sincere persons are deserving of respect. Yeah, for sure. Though what we're trying to do is think about critical thinking in this instance and how we think about how we change our minds. And we can't start that process if we don't think about objectivity in this way. That wasn't me. Somebody's
That's
got
me.
pizza. Okay. Somebody got some DoorDash or something.
They don't deliver out here.
Anyway, yeah.
Could anybody be mistaken about anything?
Oh, great.
I mean, everybody is
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
mistaken
you
about
asked the
everything
question.
if you're assuming
Yeah.
someone else's truth. So
Hang on. I go
in
back.
a situation, it really be their truth.
Could anybody be mistaken about anything?
I mean, everybody is kind of mistaken about everything if you're assuming someone else's truth.
So this is
So
like something is only wrong if someone is only mistaken or holding a false belief or an untruth that only occurs when juxtaposed with someone else who has an opposing view. That's what I hear. And then absent that other person, it's whatever a person thinks is accurate. That's what I'm hearing.
I don't think I heard that,
You
because
didn't
I
hear
don't think
that?
she's. No, it sounds like she's saying that they're wrong to that other person. Like that other person might think they're wrong, but actually they all have a shared truth. So we're all wrong to other people who are
To other people.
juxtaposed. But
Yeah. So it's all
right,
relative. Yeah.
exactly. You can't say
Mhm.
that means that they're wrong, right?
Okay, yeah, you can't even in that instance say that they're wrong, yeah, because to them they're right. So, yeah, yeah.
All right.
I mean, everybody is kind of mistaken about everything if you're assuming someone else's truth. So in a situation like right now, you have a perspective, I have a perspective. Your truth is your truth within your little bubble over there. My truth is my truth within my little bubble over here. I could be mistaken if I assumed your truth because I'm not in your truth and I never ever could be.
She's just saying, I don't have your conscious experience, so I can't match your conscious experience. That's what I'm hearing. It's not so much about propositional beliefs. It's just she's equivocating truth with perspective, with belief, with conscious experience, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. My truth, I've learned a lot of people define that as my opinion based on my experience.
That's
my
how
truth.
usually people colloquially use that
Mm-hmm.
phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Are you using perspective and truth interchangeably?
I think that
Good question.
perspective is different than truth to me, again, because perspective is what I hold. I hold a perspective of all sorts of different things, and I'm using my perspective to identify all different versions of the world or what I'm interacting with, and then I compile all of the perspectives that I take in, and I create a truth that is mine.
You create a truth that's yours based on your perspective.
Based on a lot of people's perspectives, not just mine.
Okay.
Even if it's not my truth. I compile perspectives.
Okay. Maybe it would help me understand if you told me the difference between your truth and your perspective.
My perspective is seeing everything. My truth is what my core agrees to. So my perspective changes. So does my truth, though. And that's another part of this. Truth and perspective will change forever. But I do think that they're different because, like, sometimes I'll hold a perspective about something that isn't my truth. Here's one, okay? So, like, and this is a tough one, especially because we're being videotaped, but it's interesting. So, like, I've had an abortion, okay? But now I don't think I would have one. That's interesting.
Your perspective changed.
Very much.
Your
very
truth
much.
changed.
All. But now my perspective, I still think other people should be able to have them, even though I changed my truth about that to myself. So my perspective and my truth are different, but I still hold the perspective that I had when my truth was in line with the perspective when I had an abortion at the beginning.
Okay.
And now we're really tangled in knots here because we're doing is ought, right? So like she's talking about what she ought to do, and we're trying to keep the focus on things
What
that
is.
are. What is, yeah.
And also for other people, like you're involving what other people ought to do rather than herself. So for her core belief or truth, her truth is still that she shouldn't get abortion. And her perspective, I think, is also that she shouldn't get an abortion, if I'm understanding correctly.
That's you're saying that's a time when her truth and perspective lined up?
Yes. Because you were asking for a time when they didn't align, and it sounds
Right.
like she's offering an example where her perspective on someone else doesn't align with her core, which I think would align with her perspective on herself.
It's a mystery.
That made more sense in my head.
Like in the past, she asked herself the question, should I get an abortion? But now that she's in the present, she can use all the information she has now, going through having had the child. She has more information now than she did before. So she can look back and change her, like say she's changed her mind about it. Like,
Yeah.
maybe, or maybe she had the same decision. Would she have done it again the same time, the same way?
Yeah.
Or would she have done it differently?
Yeah.
Don't know.
And she's compiling lots of different people's perspectives, taking that compilation and then creating her own truth and whatever her core agrees to, which I thought was interesting. It's like a compilation of, it's almost a popularity argument, but at the same time not, because it's like creating a book out of a lot of different people's books and making her own book that agrees with her core.
So they can change, but I can still hold a perspective that isn't necessarily my truth today.
Okay, I think I understand. Like your perspective and your truth is malleable. It can change based on experiences.
Yeah, life.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of life, is that we're just like, we're constantly in growth and development. And like, if we were ever to say like, this is my truth in the form of it being an infinite, okay, I think that would be death. That'd just be the end of it if it was your truth forever and ever. But
okay, like a non-changing.
Yeah, it's got to be progressive, just as we are as humans.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see.
I'm sorry.
If I were to say that I really, really, really like those shoes.
Yeah.
And it's my truth that they belong to me.
Yeah.
Would I be mistaken?
I would think that was really interesting.
Yeah.
And I would think that you believed that.
Yeah.
I would.
But if I claimed that they were mine,
Yeah.
would I be incorrect?
Not in your truth. Not in your truth. To you, you might really believe that these bad boys are yours.
There she equivocated again. Truth and belief.
Yeah.
And I think you did a really good job on that question, by the way, because you were careful not to use the word truth. You used correct. And
Right.
And I think just the way you phrased that question was really thoughtful.
Yeah, correct, accurate. Those are the words that I typically move to and away from truth to get a better idea of what they're talking about. This is the whole Versace glasses situation.
The water bottle. Right.
The water
That's what I
bottle.
think of.
Yeah. And I think this is important, I think, because in one instance we might be talking about her shoes being taken away, but what about her rights being taken away?
Yeah.
Like when it really, really matters, would it still be the same way?
Here's the OG version of that. Yeah, add it. Hang on. Watch this. Just for kicks.
Yeah, you got a shortcut.
Yeah.
Could you be holding a belief that makes you happy, but might not be really true?
I feel like it's true to yourself, and that's all that's really important.
Do you really live that way?
Yeah.
Do you?
I mean, as long as I feel it's true, like, why should I believe, all, I don't know, why shouldn't I find my truth in what I believe and that make me happy? Why shouldn't everyone do that?
You know, I'm really thirsty right now, and you're actually holding my water bottle.
Yeah.
It's true for me.
Okay.
Does it
That
make
makes you happy.
does it make
So
it
brutal.
I stole
Hey,
it?
I mean, that is took it from, it wasn't yours, it was mine. But that's like,
If it was true for
that's
me that it was
true.
actually mine, would it make it
well, then you're
true?
just probably just a little, that would make you maybe a little off.
It's tough though. It's like that's a great example, though. It's still within the realm of like human interaction and social contracts. So it's like it's still somehow like I can see how a person who's really like all about the relativistic worldview would take that and make it relativistic again. Like they could try to do that. Though with like Tic Tacs, numbers, I like to think about history because in my opinion, history is really important in how we see the world and how we make sense of how our society is now. Or you know, whether or not a person, you know, you're on jury duty and so did someone commit a murder? Like, is it true that somebody was murdered or not? How important that, I mean, the stakes on that one are really high, and it either happened or it didn't happen, right?
Well,
You know,
and we kind of get into that a little bit. I think, yeah, maybe we should go on a little bit.
We talk about the bank, bank
the
account.
bank. Oh, okay.
For me.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
Nor could I change it. I could not get in your brain and make you not believe that these shoes are not yours.
Does truth require a mind?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no truth outside of minds? Would you say that?
If we're talking about a perspective, which once again, this all goes hand in hand, truth and perspective, we're having conversations, we're using words, we're talking about it. There's a mind. We wouldn't even be going here.
Okay.
If we wouldn't be talking about the word truth at all.
That's a slight technical differentiation of words. Like, I don't think truth does require minds. Maybe it requires minds to kind of create it. Maybe robots could do it if they don't qualify as minds. But you know, we write something in a book, but everyone on Earth disappears. The knowledge, the truth is still in the book, and anything else we produce. So it's like we can leave truth as products of human creation, but it doesn't. I guess it does require it to generate it. So I don't know. It's complicated.
Yeah, the volcano example here kind of digs into that a little bit. Like, is it true that a volcano erupted even though nobody was around to think about it?
Yeah, I just like the
human
concept
mind
of
wasn't.
unknown knowledge. Like, is there knowledge yet to be attained that we don't have yet? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Talking about the word truth at all if the human mind wasn't a part of this. So from base formal, that's where it would go. Now, if we were just to say, like, if I were to pretend that humans were never ever on the earth and like the word truth was never here, but the concept, like the natural law of what truth is, I believe that it would again hold the same factor. You know, there would be like a deer that's frolicking around that feels strong. Maybe that deer is the leader of the pack and feels like they are the biggest predator out there in their world. Well, then something bigger than them comes along, like a wolf, and that wolf says, actually, I'm the biggest predator. Now, the deer was right. Wolf's right, too.
And they each...
What do you mean biggest predator, then? Wouldn't you test the biggest predator to see whoever survives when they come in conflict? Is the biggest predator the best, most apex predator? Which species? I don't know.
Have a mind.
Yep.
So
But if we were to go to Earth, even I mean, you could plants. People say that plants have minds too. It's just like a different kind.
That's what I was gonna.
So it's like kind of hard because it depends on what you believe a mind is, and you
okay.
know.
Maybe this will kind of clear it up. For me at least.
Yeah.
So, are you convinced that the Earth was here before minds were here?
I don't know. To be super
Great
real.
question.
I'll give you a specific example.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
say before there were any like living organisms that we would say are probably have a mind, like there was just volcanoes and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
Would it be true that volcanoes erupted even if there were no minds around?
That's really hard because it's like, does a bear shit in the woods? It's the same kind of question.
Well, the bear would have a mind.
I think she got her analogies a little confused.
Yeah,
Bear shitting in the
yeah.
woods is an example of something obvious, which is like kind of because like this thought experiment is to us kind of obvious.
Maybe a tree falling in the forest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're doing an elaborate. If a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound? But you're saying without a person or without people. Did things happen prior, which we could use words to describe, and could those words be accurate about things that happened before minds were around?
The history.
Which if you and I can see where you're going with it, but it was like the way you set it up, I can tell that you were doing it kind of like in the moment, and it was kind of weird because you set up a scenario. You set up a scenario in which you're describing volcanoes, and then you asked a question about the volcanoes. So it's almost like kind of circular the way you asked it, because you said like, imagine there were volcanoes.
You're assuming that they exist.
Yeah,
already.
is the statement there were volcanoes accurate? Well,
But and earlier, right before that, you had asked, did the Earth even exist? And she said, I don't know. That's like a good question. And I think
that's a great one. Yeah.
That maybe that's a little bit of reflection there. It did feel like she's had this conversation. It feels like she's discussed this a lot before, I suspect. But that definitely caused pause, which was cool.
I don't know. I'm not
You're not
convinced that
convinced?
she's talked about this stuff before like this.
Well, most
really?
people
Okay.
haven't,
Right.
or most
Yeah.
people kind of have, but they talk about it in the way that she's talking about it. It was like people have personal truths and things like that. Yeah. Epistemology is one of those things that it's like, it's super basic and yet really complex in a weird way. It's one of the most, it's a little.
It could be that I think when people answer quickly, it makes me think that they've talked about it, but maybe it's just thinking about it a lot. So yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, she definitely had an answer. It seemed at the ready for each question, and that's kind of what I was talking about before. It was like not a lot of reflection going on, but a lot of like reaction and forming. Like some people feel like they need an answer, even if rather than saying I don't know. Having an answer is better than having no answer or whatever, especially in like an interview you didn't know that you were going to have that day, and so we talk about this later, but I feel like a lot of the answers that she's giving are rooted in her need to be compassionate,
Right.
And taking other people's feelings into account when maybe discussing this stuff.
Yeah. Have anybody of y'all read the book, The Beginning of Infinity by David Deutsch? It's about,
I haven't.
science and philosophy of science. But he talks about this idea that, the only things that we can say are real are those things that figure in our best explanation of something, which are usually empirical theories. So if we want to say that volcanoes in the past are real, they did happen, they figure in a tons of overlapping empirical theories, like the origin of the Earth, and our theories of how planets evolve, and our theories of life. So many different empirical theories overlap with the proposition there are, volcanoes existed in the past. And since that appears in so many of our best explanations for so many things, then we can say, yeah, it is real. We don't need to think of it like, we need someone to be there to observe it to make it real. No, that's not what makes things real.
Like making a wagon because we already have the wheel, not having to
would that
reinvent the wheel
Yeah.
again.
But
Like
would that
building off
mean
of
that
other.
Sorry, David.
No, go ahead.
I was just trying to figure out if you have a whole bunch of models in your head that are built on these fundamental belief, but they're all based on that fundamental belief, then does that make that belief true?
The more it overlaps with all these different models, the more likely it's true, yeah. And if the models are high quality, like they've been rigorously tested, attempted to be falsified, then yeah, all the more
Okay,
likely.
so that's all right. So that maybe is the key, the rigorous testing involved. Because I could have a whole, like I'm thinking of, you could have a network of beliefs surrounding something that, is fundamentally not true, but you've built this web of knowledge that's around that core belief, right?
Yeah,
and
you
so
also-
everything
you also
is
need
like,
this. You also need this tradition of criticism. Many people criticizing our best guesses for the explanation of things. That plus these few other things, but yeah.
okay,
Anyway,
gotcha. Yeah.
we'll keep going here.
Yes.
But
And I'm trying
So
to
it's like if the volcano is erupting, yes, it erupted. That is a
It's
truth,
true.
but there would have to be somebody observing that with the word truth in their mind to identify it as what is called a truth.
a volcano would have to have an observer for it to be true that the volcano erupted, even if there were no mines on Earth.
If there, oh, are we talking no minds on Earth?
Then
we wouldn't even use the word truth. We wouldn't use the word truth. If there were
Okay.
no minds on Earth, we wouldn't use the word truth.
Let's say we were geologists,
Okay.
and we were like up at Mount St. Helens or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I were to say it's true that 3 billion years ago, and I don't know the numbers.
Yeah, that's okay.
3 billion years ago, this volcano erupted. Would that be reasonable to say if I had the evidence for it? Like, would it be reasonable just to make the statement, it's true that this volcano erupted even before there was anybody here to see it?
To you. Yes. To you. To the geologist man that found that out, that said that felt that with all the facts.
Okay.
To that person, yes.
So it sounds like you're saying truth requires a mind.
For the most part.
Do you have an example?
I can't identify the stuff that I don't know. So, like, I don't know if the water has a mind. But maybe it does, because it moves like it does.
Okay.
And it acts within the universe like it does.
Okay.
So that's part where, we got to go pretty deep there. And we could say that all working has, I would say, energy. Maybe we could go there. We could talk about energy versus a mind. I think that would be a more appropriate thing, because that's a universal thing. The energy is within pretty much all of the matter that existed here on Earth before the humans, let's say, came about. So is energy at work, and is energy the truth? Like, when energy moves, there's energetic laws on Earth that say that is the reality. That's what we've uncovered. If we were to apply that same viewpoint to life before human minds were all around, then we could say that energy could prove its truth all the time. In a volcano, energy did that. Then it explodes. The remnants come down. That is a truth. Energy moved. It didn't necessarily need a mind to prove it.
Okay.
It just was that the energy moved. And if we're going to talk about it in that form, I guess it could go more down that hole.
And would you have to say to you for that to be accurate?
Yeah, to me. Yeah.
Okay.
This is, again, my perspective of what that stuff really means. Some
Okay.
people believe that this is nothing, that the Earth is there and doesn't even have an energetic line.
Does a statement have to be true to someone in order for it to be true?
No, because anything can be uncovered. Everything is available to be true.
Okay. So, do you have an example of when a statement can be true without a mind?
A statement? It's getting kind of hard again because you need a mind to make a statement.
I think it's a little bit of the survey in there.
Mm-hmm.
I keep wanting to go back to love. I don't know how to word it though, because I don't think you need a mind to make love true. I think that the way that the earth moves with each other is like it's in love.
Okay.
And so I don't know what sentence that would be, but like that there is an ebb and flow to all. I could probably say that. Like,
And that's true
that's just true.
to you, or just
I think
true?
that's just true.
Okay, so there are statements that we can make.
But that's again just me, and someone else could say no. So again, it's to me. It's very difficult for
Okay.
me to make a sentence like that on behalf of all.
Here's where the Tic Tacs might come back in handy.
How many wide cameras do you have, David?
This is Rupert walking around with camera 5 and just taking memory
Oh.
shots.
Okay. I'm like,
Yeah,
wow.
I had
I was about to say.
my assistant was there that day. he'll come
I
up from
see.
Portland and he'll go out with me, and like just take random shots.
Okay, that makes
kinda
more
adds
sense.
to it. Yeah.
I'm like, you have like, I've seen like now 3 different wide shots, super wide shots. Like, how was no one just absconding with a
legs.
random GoPro somewhere?
Or the candies.
Yeah.
If we don't know how many are in here, and somebody said that there's an even amount, and somebody said that there was and somebody else said that there was an odd amount, could both of them be correct?
Yes. 100%. Here, I'll give you a story.
This
I'll
is
give you a
the
story.
all people have general respect to the same truths or whatever. Again, that red flag that you posted earlier, Reed.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it's coming again, because like you're asking a mathematical question about even and odd numbers. Like that can't possibly be the case, that the one thing that's outside of us in the external world can be both things at the same time. Now we could, I don't know how you could have asked that more clearly.
Do we share the same planet?
I mean, yeah, maybe that would have been the next place to go, I guess. Yeah, that probably would have been where you need to go. Because right now it sounds like your conversation partner is thinking about the number is only an abstract notion. It's not in relation to or corresponding to something in the external world, a physical reality.
Yeah, I think mentioning the externality side of things would have helped here. Because that's definitely key, because you can always keep saying, it's internal, true to you, true to, we're both correct.
True to the geologist.
If you substitute the word right now, truth and true, for my perspective, which she kind of seemed to be doing at times, like everything she's saying is making sense, right? Like if we say, can both of us have the perspective? Can you have the perspective that it's odd and I can have the perspective that it's even? Of course we can. That's trivially true.
Yeah.
Well, there could both be an even and an odd number of candies in here?
Yes, absolutely. I'll give you a story. So basically, eyes and perspective. So
Okay,
have you ever bought a
I can't
car?
put perspective in there that way.
Yeah.
or something, and then after you bought a car, you started to see the car everywhere you went?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because your eyes saw the car. So you bought the car, you see the car, now your eyes know what the car looks like, and now everywhere you were going, you were driving past that car before all the time, but now you see it.
Yeah.
Okay?
How does that relate
Illusion of frequency.
to Tic Tacs?
Yeah. I don't know how that was inserted there. Like,
Can you buy a car
illusion
and
of
not
frequency.
have a car at the same time?
could it be true to could it be true to my neighbor that I don't have a car parked in the driveway?
Yeah.
Your eyes see it. So to you, that car is around, but to somebody else who doesn't really identify with that car, it's not there. They will not see it. This has been going on since the beginning of times, you know. There were always people that were around the circle that could see things differently than some of the other people around the circle. And they would try to warn others, you know, the big ships are coming. Bad stuff is about to happen. And other people wouldn't listen to them. And they would get frustrated and they would plead, please see this, please see that my number is even. Well, you see it to be odd. And they both were right. They only saw the odd number. And those other people saw the even. And they were both right in the exact same moments. Their truths were both true.
Got it.
Either the boats are coming, either the Tic Tacs are even or odd. This is not so frustrating.
That is frustrating. Like it's like, I mean, with all due respect to your conversation partner, she's very brave for sitting down with you and having a conversation, but like, how in the world do we decide how to vote on legislation?
Yeah.
Under this, like, your truth, my truth thing, right? Like, if, like, she even brought up abortion earlier, like, how do we have a meaningful conversation about that issue without talking about objectivity or any issue? Like, it renders everything, every single potential issue of conflict, and just kind of renders it, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just like, it doesn't it's almost like nothing matters.
Yeah.
Unable to be managed or dealt with in some way.
Right. And if the truth really does work this way, in the way that that your IL is saying, then my question is, why should anyone listen to what anyone else has to say if it's all just whatever is in your core? Because it's not about me maybe being wrong. It's like me changing my perspective so I can be more like you. But why would I want to do that?
Yeah.
Well,
if no one
we're
can be
going around
wrong, why ask any
collecting-
questions?
Yeah.
Because you're collecting these truths from other people. They're collecting these perspectives from other people. And so then if we can have a shared truth, then maybe we can come to an agreement. But that doesn't make the other person wrong. It just means we have a shared truth now.
Given what the certain beliefs are, they make predictions. You can infer future things happening in reality. So if someone says the boats are coming, either then you can stand on a beach and look at the horizon and expect to see some boats at some point in the future. In how long of a time period are they coming? Tomorrow? Next week? That's a falsifiable claim. And
it could be really important, because if they're pirates, then that's important information.
Yeah. And with Tic Tacs,
same,
if there's nothing in the box, you could expect to take out some candy and eat them and live longer, or just enjoy that taste. Cash it out in expectations or things that you can do in the future, things that you expect to see or experience, sense. Try to make it super concrete like that, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, I wonder next time, give this throw this out there. The next time, especially if somebody's really like health conscious or something like that, let's bring up smoking.
Mhm.
Or like if it's my truth that like cigarettes won't like have any effect on me. I don't know. That one's a little cloudy. um, but you know what I mean? It's like
where it can be really useful and meaningful.
Yeah. Up the stakes,
And-
probe
and-
the
Yeah.
limits.
up
Yeah.
the stakes, and also it's about health and like that's a great example of like where society all thought one way and then the society changed their mind and thought about something a different way. You can ask a question like, back then, was it accurate that like smoking was good for the T-zone because everyone thought it was the case and it was
Right.
to their core, right?
Or
Or
the
were
slavery
they
question,
mistaken even back then? And we've learned since then because of something in the external world. Yeah.
Keep brainstorming.
Yep. Constantly
bank
brainstorming
account?
this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sort of.
Here
Yeah.
it is.
If your
That's a good one.
records
Yeah.
showed that you had $100 in your bank account,
Yeah.
and your bank said that you were in the negative 100,
Yeah.
you're saying that you would both be right?
I would, at that point, I would say, in my perspective, I swear I was right and that I had $100 in there. And in their perspective, which holds the law above in that situation, is that I'm negative 100, and they would win in terms of like what was done with the paper fakeness. But what my truth was in that would still remain to be true to me, and their truth would still remain to be true to them.
Why would they win?
They would only win in the terms of like that money amount, like whatever the game was that you were playing, or if that was, because there had to be a decision made. That's really why there had to be a winner.
There had to be
There had
decision.
to be a decision made. So
Okay, and so
on someone else's terms too. This is also a bank where you sign legal documents and you're conceding to them being the people that actually make those decisions, yes or no. You can go and say this is my truth to them, but they're still going to be the people that you sign the paper that gets to say this is our truth. You don't get yours. So going into a situation like that, you just have to expect it.
how do you suppose that
That's a very postmodern view. Like, the institution of banking holds the power to judge the truth of these things rather than some more general rational process that anybody could check. Yeah.
It's true because they have the power.
Yeah. True. by
Whoever's got
power.
the power has got the truth.
Wow, that is really postmodernist, isn't it?
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh man.
they would be able to show that they were accurate?
They're of course going to have their own evidence, of course, and I assume have mine, and either one you would compare and contrast, and again they would win just because of legalities.
Legalities.
But we live in a liberal democracy, democratic republic, which appeals to reality to adjudicate disputes. So do you have any evidence that you put money in a bank and you put this amount and nothing else happened to it? Submit that
Like
to
receipts.
submit that to people that can look at that documented process and appeal to reason and evidence. Not mere
Have banks ever been wrong?
Yeah.
The world. If we were going off of like natural law, things might work out different, but that's not how we're all working.
So, based on the legal system,
In that situation.
in that situation, there are ways to find out if
It would still be to them. Even though the money was wherever it went, it would still be to them. To them, that was their truth.
How does that work?
so how do we resolve disputes?
You accept. And you never ever try to change someone.
And this is where we really go off the rails with probing the
Yeah.
limits. But This is where the relativist line of thinking is taking way too far.
Yeah.
Like,
If somebody,
about-
yeah,
go ahead.
if somebody were to take your rights away, would you just accept? Would that be the right thing to do in that situation?
Well,
To
that
just
would
accept?
eliminate conflict,
Sure.
which
Or
was the
generate
question,
it.
right? How do we resolve conflict? We accept, and then conflict is resolved.
Or postponed.
See, in my view, the attitude of you should never try to change anyone, maybe that was meant to mean, like, maybe the origin of that belief comes from, like, being in relationships or in partnerships with people and not wanting to force your partner to change. Like, I can see someone saying that.
Mhm.
But take that logic further. First of all, I want to grow in relationships. So yeah, for me, I would like to have a partner that can, like, encourage me to, like, make healthier choices, or to, take up new challenges, to be more creative. So I think that there's actually a positive benefit from change and being changed, but, like, you should never change it. Think about what that means for society at large. To me, that is probably the most egregious source of conflict in our society is pacifism, and just allowing things to go willy-nilly. Sometimes we care too much about issues in our society also. So, but to not care at all or not want to change at all, like, democracy doesn't work unless we care, and are sensible and knowledgeable and try to vote once in a while. So yeah, I'm curious, like, does she vote? Has she ever voted? If she does, is that changing society?
I think we talked about that. Pretty sure we talked about that.
Okay.
So how do we resolve disputes?
You accept. And you never ever try to change someone.
So if I took your shoes, you would accept that they were mine?
You should never try to change someone. So you're trying to take my shoes off. We're into a new part of things. We're also into natural law. Because if you come at me and touch my body, I now have to react.
Yeah.
So it's no longer about your truth. It's about my truth, because you're on my body.
Okay. So it changes from it being my truth.
No, it could still be your truth. You could come after my shoes. You could try to take them. Now your truth is probably going to get booked. Your truth is you're probably going to go to jail for assault.
Why?
Because of the laws within what we live in. Again, it's a law thing. It's not a natural law or a whose truth gets to be what. And I don't think anybody in natural law land gets to win that. I don't think that's something that gets won in natural law land.
Natural law is on a different level than, like, legal law or, like, societal law?
Way different level, in my opinion.
Uh-huh.
To me, again, yeah.
Okay. So if I were to say something's my truth, and that's completely opposite from your perspective of your truth, we would both be correct.
Yeah.
And both statements, even if they were contradictory, would both be true.
Yes. And in terms of natural law, you can do whatever you want and have your own everything, your own beliefs, but you can't hurt other people. Like, is the ultimate goal of natural law, is that you wouldn't have a malicious or evil intent with your truth. Because you could say it's my truth to rape you. Okay,
yeah.
That in natural law land, no, that's not how natural law works. That's disgusting. You don't do that to another human being in natural law. That's a no-no. So
That'd be against natural law and societal
law too. But it's more about harm to soul, harm to this entity. You don't put harm to other people's entity on your own truth journey.
Okay.
If we all were living in this ideal world, that's not how it works, though.
So truth could depend on whether you're harming someone.
No, again, in like someone being wrong or right, because the person that's harming somebody, right, like that's still their truth. Like they're allowed to do that. They're still allowed to be a harmful, fucked up person. But in my truth, according to natural law and what I assume to be true based off of my story, that's wrong to do.
Okay.
So, but again, it's a tough one. I live on this earth solely to not have a winner, to not deny anybody their truth ever,
Is
and to
natural
never ever
law is natural law morality here? I'm not quite sure what natural law is.
Maybe a little bit, and maybe like a just world. The idea of just world, like it's a natural law that, you know, it's going to end up being just eventually.
This is a place where you could probe the limits even further, but it's getting into some really dark territory, right? She's talking about like violation of somebody's bodily autonomy and stuff.
Yeah.
And so you could go down that route to really, and I might, 'cause I have in real life, not on a camera, but I have been like, well, what if somebody does this and they violate another person? Like you're a juror on trial. Like, is there a truth to be known about what happened there that doesn't rely on either party's perspective of what happened? It was just a thing that happened.
Like the objectivity of just law, or the
natural like
natural
that
law
comment that came up. Does natural law exist outside of us?
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's like she's trying to make sense of how we would be able to deal with conflict without any kind of cultural institutions, either socially or legally. Like in the original state of nature, if conflicts happen and, you know, someone thought it was my truth to like violate someone else, then I think she's saying it's just up to the power of the individual. I don't know, but this reminds me of like the moral landscape and like how the reality of the good life and the bad life are real things. You know, we don't, you know, there are consequences to actions in terms that cash out in terms of conscious experience. You know, misery is a real phenomenon, you know, and the further away we get away from everyone being miserable, that's just a good definition of, at least, you know, the worst possible misery for everyone is bad. We can just start with that assumption.
The stove is
that's
hot.
fair. Yeah. So if you want to live on this planet with other mammals like us, it's best to do certain things and avoid doing other things so we don't be miserable all the time.
Right, but and the point is, like the Tic Tacs, kind of like there is an objective thing that happened, like and this is like, I would want to know how they're thinking about relativism in concept of the judicial system, or, you know, in terms of the justice system. Like if somebody sincerely believes that they did not commit a crime, does that mean that we're putting them in prison for the wrong reasons? Or like
unjustly?
Can we all be like, no, this person here is factually incorrect and they must be put away? Like, is there a scenario where that happens?
Yeah. It's part of our evolutionary nature. If something happens to us that we see as unjust, like we get attacked or someone kills someone we love, we sense that as a moral intuition of an unfairness, of harm, and we do things as a result of it. Or we can have these social institutions like juries or other things, you know, police, you know, monopoly of violence systems. We can live much better lives. Anyway.
Yeah, and that's all like morality, and right now we're talking about justice and morality, right and wrong, which is like moral epistemology, which is way more difficult than just like plain old epistemology without the morality stuff. And and so like even if you do away with the moral stuff, just talk about climate change, right? Like that's another good one. Like I'm hearing her say we shouldn't try to change anyone, and also I'm hearing her say like that it's whatever is the core to me. Well, like, are there people that have? I'm not even saying anything about climate change right now, but are there people that have a mistaken understanding about what's happening in the world on a scientific level about something really super important? And if we were to make laws about that, like, how do we think about how our thinking adjusts? And I'm hearing her say, like, you should never try to change someone. I mean, yeah. Okay.
Alrighty. To not have a winner, to not deny anybody their truth ever, and to never ever actually get to that point, because that's why we're destroyed right now. We're not supposed to exist with one another, begging and pleading for everybody to learn one another's truth. That's not it. It's about you identifying your own and finding some real comfortable nature in it, because you're the one that has to live with that. And as we all boggle over this debate of what truth is of more importance, we're just losing our own truth and we're killing each other in the meantime. You know, we're taking down each other's souls. And that's not what we're here for. So if I were to go based off of like this natural law concept, which is what I wish we all lived upon, then yeah, it would be really easy for everybody to just remain in their own truth within a respectful reason, you know.
You're a pleasure to talk with.
Thank you.
And this is really refreshing for me because it gives me more perspective.
Yeah.
And I really admire what I sense to be compassion from you.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how much your perspective on what truth is based on compassion.
I would
Great
think
observation.
that due to being an extremely empathetic human being while living a life that has taught me a lot, to where I actually wished for compassion from a lot of people. I gave a lot of compassion to a lot of people, and to even people that I should have never given the compassion to some standard. But what I have learned is that in all of this, like every single one of us is sort of suffering. And like, there's just no reason for us to not look at everybody like they're a little baby. Just maybe needs to get picked up. And so when we deny truths and all of that sort of stuff, it destroys people. And
what did she just say? Hang on.
She's getting a little emotional here.
Huh.
Well, she's talking about
just, you know,
like supporting people, I think, and like that everybody needs support. That's why the way I took that baby comment.
Yeah.
Reason for us to not look at everybody like they're a little baby. Just maybe needs to get picked up. And so when we deny truths and all of that sort of stuff, it destroys people. And I think that that's probably why I have that compassion, is just because if anybody, even if they're absolutely out of their mind, you could at least tell them that they're justified so that they don't go further. You know, and having that compassion is actually a good thing. Same thing with like, I mean, I hate to say it, but like there's this one chick I watch and she's got, her son is like, he's psychotic, he's a sociopath. I mean, he will hurt people, okay? And she has to have him in an institution, and it's for himself and it's for others. And it's because if he wasn't in this one that she paid for now, that she protected him in, then because of society, he would get pushed into all of these other places that would then do horrible things to him. And like, yeah, dude, is his brain really off to society? Could he hurt everybody? Yes. But that's someone's baby. She didn't ask to have that journey. She just accepted what she got, and now she's doing her best with it. And like, I love her, and I love her kid, and I'm glad she did whatever she's doing right now. Like, her truth is really rad. And like, I watch people talk about her and try to hurt her or try to hurt her son
That's Mary.
with their words.
That's her?
Yeah.
That's another one of your people you talked with?
Yeah, our previous review, Jesus is a person.
Oh, okay.
That's her right
Or
there.
truth is a person. Was it
Yeah,
truth
the
is-
truth is a person. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
small world,
Yeah.
small town.
Was this in a
More
different
talk.
location than where you talked
Yeah.
with her before? Oh, wow.
Yeah. So before I started talking to Priscilla, her mom, she was like, "Hey, I think you talked to my daughter a couple of weeks ago, and she looks just like her." And I was like, "You mean Mary?" And she was like, "Yeah." And so we talked a little bit, and then what I think may have happened is that she went and got Mary and let Mary know that I was doing interviews here. And she may have wanted to maybe do another one or maybe clarify stuff. I don't know. But I didn't even notice this until I started editing the video. I was like, hey, that's Mary.
And
So
they
I thought
didn't
that
come up
was
to you after?
kind of cool. No,
guess not.
because I was busy doing the interview right now.
Oh.
I just, yeah, who knows? But I'm creating my truth.
Nice.
And it doesn't do anything to what she's actually doing with her truth. She's just doing the best she can with it. That's it, you know? And so I think if we look at that everywhere we go, we could just have a better time here together, you know?
Why don't we just accept the truth of the psychopathic son to whatever he thinks
Right.
it should happen? Let it happen.
Yeah.
Be a pacifist.
Who are we to change him?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
changing. We're changing him.
You doing okay?
Yeah, I cry because I love everybody.
Hey guys, I went all the way up.
Cool. Did you go to the top?
Super cute
I
kid.
went a whole feet up.
Adorable.
You're brilliant.
Yeah.
We're almost done. I think I just have like a couple more
Cool.
questions,
Can
if
you
that's
give me a high
okay.
five? Boom. See you later. Can you go talk to Matt for just one more minute and then I'll meet you again? Go down the slide. Go show him how fast you go. Super perfect.
Real quick before I forget.
Yeah, of course. Go.
Is it okay if
Yeah, she's
the
fine.
kiddo's on YouTube?
Yeah, she's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
It's
wanna
not
make
like
sure.
on a bad
That was good. That's good.
Yeah,
platform.
good consent check.
No,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll give you information on how
Yeah,
to check
that'd
it
be
out.
great.
It's just
The,
like
the kiddo actually gets the
kids-
whiteboard and sits down in the bonus footage.
Oh, really?
I like
Yeah.
to make sure.
Pretty
Yeah,
cute.
it can be inappropriate. She's fine. She's dressed appropriately.
Okay,
It's
cool.
Okay, yeah. Totally.
So my might be my last question.
Yeah.
Could a statement be compassionate
hmm
and not true?
Yeah. To somebody. Yeah. Yeah. You
Okay.
could, I mean, like, how many times have you heard somebody say something to you with so much love, but to you it held zero value?
Oh.
It was more for them, their need of compassion, but for you and your truth, it maybe wasn't needed.
Like, how do I look in this dress? You know what I mean? Like, it may be true that they look terrible,
Yeah.
but if you want to be compassionate,
Oh, you mean that route.
I'm asking,
Can you be compassionate and still tell the truth?
can you be compassionate and say something that's not true?
And say something that's not true? Like that they, okay, so do they look good in the dress or not? Yeah.
Is that
Come
an
on.
objective truth?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's say they do not look good in the dress.
They do not look good in the dress, and I'm going to tell them they look good in a compassionate way.
Yeah.
I would say something, if I'm being really real, I would say, man, you look really great in that dress. But I've seen you in other ones that were more flattering. You should try some other stuff.
Yeah. So,
That's a lie. A white lie, but a lie.
A compassionate.
I would
Yes.
Yeah.
modify the truth, which is we should try something else on. With some compassionate things that I assumed would help her feel better.
would that be more true than, yes, you look fine in the dress?
If I said, yes, you look fine in the dress, I would be lying to her, right? Or because did she look good in the dress? Or you said she didn't. She didn't. So if I said, yes, you look fine in the dress, I'd be lying.
Right.
So my truth is I'm a super liar right now. So I wouldn't want to do that, to be really honest. If you're in my family, we've got a long time learning about truth, how to present it.
So is it possible to lie to yourself about reality? If you can lie about people looking good in dresses, why doesn't reality apply?
Yeah. We have my truth. Do we have my false?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. That's interesting.
My false.
Yeah, I really like that question.
Yeah. Can people have my falses if they can have my truths?
falsehoods? Yeah.
I love how the one time there's like an inkling of objectivity here. It's in the one instance in which it must be subjective and not objective. It's so annoying. It's like, wait, does she look good? No, she looks bad. Right. Okay. So
opposite land.
Nathan, I'm hearing some frustration as if you've engaged in this before.
I engage in it all the time. I live in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
PNW.
So there's just all truth is personally owned. Yeah.
How to present it appropriately. And a lot of that learning is being honest, but also compassionate with the delivery. And you can still be very real and raw about what you feel. But
when honesty and compassion come into conflict, what do you go with? And especially if the stakes are high. Well, it depends. I don't know.
Yeah.
Still also make it nice for others.
It sounds like you put a lot of value in being compassionate to people.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And
I
that's
just
good,
believe
at
that
least.
I think it's kind
That's
like-
good. Compassion's good. Just don't do it to the detriment of all knowledge acquisition and
Suppose it
critical
could be
thinking.
worse.
Yeah.
like love, water, air. It's kind of a birthright. It's just one of those things. And in terms of compassion, I just have a lot of understanding for others and a lot of like, it's none of my business what you think of me. And it's none of my business, you know, in the reverse. It's just that's not how that works. And in terms of compassion, I guess I just have accepted that everybody is here. And so I'm okay with them, you know, however they come.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
We didn't get to universalism.
Right. I know. I feel bad about that.
Next time.
Sure.
I'm out here often in lots of different places. Do you have any questions for me?
Mainly, like, is there a topic that's come up that's just really valuable that you've heard about since you started doing this?
Lots.
Yeah. Cool. So it's just been expansive for you.
Lots. Everybody seems like, well, there's been a couple of times where people have chosen to talk about the same topic, but it's rare.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I have a well, yeah, I think my favorite is I had a conversation with someone at Capitol Lake, and their claim was God is a woman.
Oh.
Fascinating to me.
Super
I thought
fun.
the conversation was great.
Yeah. I think God is
Positioning
water.
the chairs
now.
so that your
That's
IL
water. I
is
think
not
God
in the
is
sun.
water.
So we
That's a
can
good
talk
idea
about the
too.
third time.
I know that you were talking for a while. So.
Yeah.
It's really coming down.
There you go. I mean, I don't think I could have done any better, but maybe more about the the planet. Asking that question:
Yeah.
Do we share the same planet?
Yeah.
The externality. Yeah. What is external to us?
Now, David, if you meet her again, would you allow a talk about anything else other than the same topic?
I don't know why it would matter.
Right.
I'd want to do the survey is what I would want to do.
Okay, yeah. I think that would keep things really on track if you were to do that. And I think that would be good because the survey does. I think that's one of the reasons why I like it so much. It's for this objective, subjective thing, which is like such a basic concept, but really difficult to wrap your head around sometimes, especially when like, because I think of truth as like we have maps. The maps and the territory is really difficult to unravel in question form, right? The map and the territory, and truth is the fact that our maps work to help us navigate the territory, or
Right.
that our maps could line up in a justifiable, good enough way for us to say, like, yeah, these maps correspond. And that is how I'm seeing truth. Though if truth is just something that is inside that you think, there's nothing outside that could correct it. So it can't ever be mistaken. It can't ever be wrong. And if that's the case, why should we ever change? And in this instance, we have a conversation partner that just straight up says, no, you shouldn't try to change anyone. Well, that to me, that now I'm wondering, how does anything grow? How does anything improve? And like, if we are in a democracy where we're trying to share the same country together and vote and stuff, like, these concepts are fundamentally important. And it's the reason why I started getting into street epistemology. I was interested in politics and how minds change and learning new things. And part of the reason you're out there, I presume, is because not only are you there to like help people reflect, but you're also out there to learn new stuff from people. But like, how are you learning anything if it's just people's inner core and not something related to the world we share? Yeah. But I think you did a great job, and I think she was very courageous. If she watches this, then please don't hate me. I think you're great. Please try again.
If I ran into her again, I would probably say something like, how did you feel about the way the conversation went? Have you thought of anything new that you want to talk about? Like, and maybe ask for her feedback about maybe something that may have generated with her, the way that she treats people or the way that she sees the world. One thing that one of the reasons why I do this is because I think that beliefs affect people's behavior, and that affects the rest of us.
Right.
And that's why it matters.
Yep.
So what if this belief didn't affect her behavior? What if this belief is existing in a way that doesn't impact anything? Then is it not worth exploring in that case?
I think it would be, because you're exploring not only a certain belief or a certain claim, but how they form claims. And if she's using this same method to arrive at conclusions that do affect the way she behaves in my community, then that's when it would matter.
That would have been great to get a little more into, is like, how did you come to this idea of everybody's truth existing? I don't know if that would make sense.
I think it was the compassion.
Yeah.
Like, compassion is really important to her. And it's better to be compassionate than to assert that you have that you can say something that somebody else could be mistaken about.
Yeah, I did like that moment when you pivoted during the interview to compassion. I thought that was
it was an astute observation.
Nice for a lot of reasons, but yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming up on this with me and helping me review this. I was, like I said, pretty discouraged with the lack of reflection that happened, and I try to put as much burden of that on my performance, as far as asking the right questions that can uncover some of those things that you guys and I think are important.
Hey man, sometimes you just, you run into a really challenging situation. I think you handled it really well, and I hope that you guys try it again. Do you think that she'd watch the video back, or do you think she'll
Not
walk through the
sure.
neighborhood again?
I gave her the QR code. She found me, but some of the bonus footage got cut out because she started talking about medical information, which one of my videos got taken down for that. So I cut that part out.
Yeah.
And so she said that she watches YouTube, but she doesn't follow anybody. Just like she doesn't.
Right? Didn't she say she went to YouTube college?
Yeah. And the partner or her friend that she was with, he was in the next video that I uploaded on reincarnation. So there's like, I got kind of a 2-for-1 there.
Oh, cool.
So that one came out a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah, when was this recorded?
September.
Okay. Gotcha. Nice. So have you been getting back out there this spring yet?
No, I just had I've been recovering from back surgery, and what I did was I filmed a bunch in the summer, and then I've got enough to last. One comes out every Thursday from until June now. I've got them all lined up like through June.
Awesome.
I've got one coming out every Thursday.
That's amazing.
Nice. Like and subscribe.
Man, you've got way more videos than me already with that. Yeah.
Well, I'm a lot less picky than you are, I think. Like
I'm exceptionally picky, yeah.
I
also have a lot of garbage interviews that I throw out.
Well, I think I have a lot of garbage ones too, but then people end up liking them for some reason. And so it's like, how do I know that mine are garbage and what supports that,
Yeah. Maybe I should just start posting some of mine that are,
yeah. There's no, like, I don't have any that I don't upload other than like if they, for some reason, don't give me the okay or something like that. Like,
right.
I don't keep any.
Oh, they all go up, huh?
They all go up, unless there's a good reason for it.
Okay. Well, good job. Keep it up, and I hope that she comes back again. And thanks for having me, all.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, glad you can make it.
Good to see you guys.
Thanks for hosting, David.
Thanks, Reed, for turning the knobs.
Yeah,
no problem. All right, we'll be back probably next weekend or soon after for another review show somewhere. Just stay tuned. Thanks.
Adios, amigos.
Bye.